So if you have the new update to After Effects, one of the things that may happen when you open your artwork, your render area will be reduced to 1 frame. So grab your render bar and drag it to whatever setting you need for your in and out point, the start and beginning of your animation. Another thing to look out for is if you're on a PC, you would go Edit, Preferences, Memory and Performance, click off Enable Multi-Frame Rendering. And if you're on a Mac, right next to File would be After Effects as text. So you click on the text for After Effects and then go to your Preferences. And from there it'd be the same. It'd be your Preferences, Memory and Performance, and then click off of Enable Multi-Frame Rendering. It's funny, that's so fast we can't see that. No, I like it. It's supposed to be fast to hide the edit. Do you know what I mean? Is this flickering and are these lights flickering? The whole screen? Okay, so let's take a look. Now I want to try something out here. So your hallway, let's throw on a good old-fashioned glow. When you adjust the threshold, that's going to be how much of that layer is glowing. See, look at those lights already. So remember with glows, you want to go to your project panel, hold down Alt or Option, click on the 8 bits per channel, make it 16. One more time, 32 bits per channel. Now let's edit that glow. So the smaller the number, the more that will be glowing. So right around here, you want a little bit of glow on those bars and in the puddle. Let's change the radius, soften it up a little bit. Like that. Now let's try, for the fun of it, try an expression on the threshold. So I'm going to hold down Alt or Option. You got to hold that down while you click. Good old-fashioned wiggle. I type in WI. Double click. Let's try twice a second, comma, 1. I hit some extra keys. It's got to be precise. See, now you got, let's try 5. And let's try 3. So 3 times a second in an amount of 5. Okay, 5's a bit too intense. See the bulbs? Let's try 4. There you go. Let's try 3. Make it a little bit more subtle. See? And then let's try 2 again. See if that's a little bit better. Yep, see that? Now you got a little bit of flicker in the bulbs to anchor the whole scene in a little bit better. How this zoom works, I guess it's because it's a straight on wide lens with a long enough hallway to pull it off. You know what I mean? Yeah. I like your unified color palette. See what I mean? Yep. Nice work. What was I going to say? Oh, so for rendering, just a quick recap. Make sure your render bars are set properly for the beginning and end of your animation. You've got the right sequence selected in your panel for the timeline. And you just go Composition, Add to Render Queue. If you're having issues with the render queue, send it to Media Encoder. So I'm going to click on High Quality. Quicktime. It's uncompressed and it'll be a very large file. It'll take a while to upload. So if you don't want to do that, change QuickTime to H264 and then click on Format Options. This was set to something low. I cranked it up to 50 just to get a higher quality image and more clarity to what I'm seeing. So I'm going to click OK. Then you just click on this blue text to name it, hit Save, and then your last step is to hit the render button right there. And then after it starts, it'll tell you how much time you got. We're on frame 8 of 192. I really like your limited color palette. It's cohesive because you're going out a hallway, then you see the house that you're going out of. So the gestalt, your mind makes the connection between leaving the hallway, leaving the house. It's not like you're leaving the hallway and then you see a grocery store. You know what I mean? Like, so the mind always fills in the gaps. What helps is your limited color palette, your unified color palette, and similar styles of art and the look and feel. Do you understand? Like if the other scene was bright and colorful, it wouldn't match, or like a painterly look. So that's what helps hide your edits, plus the speed and the motion, and there were similar motions that you're doing. And you'll notice I've got the Doic workspace in here, so I'm just going to change my workspace by going Window Workspace, Small Screen. That's usually a way of fixing a lot of things when... So are any of the birds going to be moving or more stuff? So what I would do for the butterflies, in Photoshop, I'd have the body and the antenna, and I have each wing its own layer. So the body and the antenna are one layer, left wing a layer, right wing a layer. I'm going to make sure nothing's selected, and I'll show you what's going to happen. We'll pretend this is your butterfly wing, okay? So you got your layer broken down. Re-enable it. And make sure, there we go. Make sure that your anchor point is where the body meets. So that way when you rotate it, let's see, not on X, it'd be Y. Get that flap.
So everything has to be up.
Yeah, it has to be separate so that you can 3D enable the wings to rotate them on the Y. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So that's how you're going to animate your butterflies. Well, the other birds, you're going to have to separate this wing and then finish out this other wing, like draw the full wing and have those on their own layer, fill out the body, and you would use the puppet pin for that. Well, these birds are pretty straight on. I'm going to solo that bird.
Professor?
Yes. Okay, great. Thanks. Let me know when it's in your Google Drive folder, please. So I'm going to puppet pin this just because it's a side view. So for your side view birds, you want to pin down what will move and what's not going to move. So I'm going to do this. Then you just move your playhead and move the pins. You can move them one at a time or you can group them. Let's see what that first pin looks like. I can copy these and then just paste them right where my playhead is. See? And if that's bending a little too much, I could just add another pin to stiffen that neck a little bit. And you could also, as that goes down, the tail arch down too. Let's bring it back up to where it was. See? And if you want, you could also, as the wing goes down, make a look at the head is bending down a little bit. Then when the wing's up, you bring the head back up. And you just keep copying and pasting those keyframes. See? Makes sense? That's your side view. Quick introduction to puppet pinning. See? Nice little bit of life. I'm going to click off my solo there. So we covered the side view of the bird and the front-on view of the butterfly. So your side view birds are 3D pin. These are puppet pin. These are going to be 3D enabled layers. This bird will be the same thing with puppet pins, but you're going to need to, like I said, finish out this wing back here and finish out, no, actually this one you could move on its own. You just got to finish that wing back there. You know what I mean? So that it fills up back here. It's going to be roughly the same size as that one. So as the wings flap, it makes sense. And I'll do the butterfly wing right here just so we remember that. So yours will be a Photoshop layer, but this technique works with shape layers as well. Why am I not seeing my anchor point? Oh, it's over there. Okay, good. All right, good. Now it's there. So now I can move my anchor point. And then, since the anchor point is moved, re-enable it, hit R, and it'll just be on the Y. So I can go towards the camera as much as I want. And then it could also go away from the camera. Like that. See? All right. And also, if these birds are flapping and flying, once you've got them puppet pinned, I would precompose them and move the position of that precomp. You know what I mean? So that the birds fly across the screen. It's coming along nicely. Nice unified artwork. It's cohesive. It makes sense. I like the rainbow. So the reason I have everybody do H.264 instead of QuickTime, the QuickTime files are really big and they'll take a while to upload and download, especially on school grounds. So H.264 is a little bit faster of a way around that. One thing to look out for, this is coming on right here. You might need to mask that off until it gets to that point. You might want to rethink this font in relation to that one. You might also want to try dialing in this fog around your effect and then doing multiple passes. So like there's a blue one, then like a couple frames later, a red one, then like a purple one, just to add a little bit of interest to it and see what that one looks like with like offset animation. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate this, take that effect off. This one, all right, so if I want to get rid of the black, I can just use UnMult. I'll explain this in a second. This, if I move this down. What if I took this, duplicated it, flipped it vertically? Over here, let's so unmold on that one too. I'll just put a black solid behind and take a look what we've got. So just by throwing on a little bit of optics compensation, I extended your saber effect. So if I took these, let's weaken them. Just give it a little bit of extra interest, you know what I mean? Find some ways to push it a little bit more. Fill up the screen a little. And additionally, it only needs to be about 10 seconds, so you'll just waste time with your render going past that. Like I said, rethink that font for the tagline. I mean, for, the name of it. But it's come along very nicely.
Thank you.
Yeah, just play around with some of your optics compensation settings, because I can't get that much control because I'm just using a video clip. But if you've got the original file, like, you can do a lot more with it than I can. You could line it up however you see fit.
Professor, is there a reason why it's always so slow when it plays?
It's all about your processor speed. Like, like I said, just try and find a way, like, shorten it and then fill up the space a little bit. Like, come up with something to help tie in. But like I was saying, optics compensation plays in very nicely with Saber. Don't worry, Wednesday everyone's presenting, and everything has to be submitted by 5:30 Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. So you see how it's graphic and, it's a simplified image, but still has the complex motion to it. I really like the chromatic aberration going through the strike through. Right there. That came out slick. I like that a lot.
I like that too. That was honestly a mistake, and it came out really nice.
Yeah, I thought it was intentional. It looks deliberate, and it really pushes it over the top. Well, okay, so what you could do, let me look at your text. Oh, I don't think it needs the productions.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's take a look at that final image. Yeah, I don't think it needs it.
Okay.
I'd get rid of it.
All right. Yeah.
It's much cleaner.
I just thought I'd add that just for a little extra flair, but yeah, no big deal.
Yeah. Well, because it's using the same animation intro technique as the other word. What you could do,
Echoing like that.
yeah. So you want to turn off the echo to it, right? Well, the echo should have gone away right here. See, because how it's echoing away?
Yeah.
If this is multiple layers because of an effect, I would fade out the other layers except for the white one. It's all very similar. It's a controlled palette. And, just sits in the scene nice. Like, you got some light up here, but that's helping the wings pop out. It's interesting. Why is it only showing half? Oh, wait a second. So what if you simplified your elements? Like, I really like what you did here. And you had, like, a balance of thick and thin. I think finding ways to contrast things and having a really short title and using this as negative space for a letter. Like, I mean, you could even, with this shape, like you could use this as like a music note or something like that and still keep all of your effects work. So, I mean, like keeping this and just coming up with some graphic element and then tying in the type. Because I think the other one is just overly complex. Whereas once you whittle it down, you get something more graphic quicker. But like I said, by looking at it, I know you know several different techniques. You just got to think of a way of applying them to a clean graphic image. And you can reach out to me tomorrow if you have any questions or you want to bounce some ideas off me. I'll be available. But just make sure everything's title safe. Try and find fonts that play off of whatever graphic element you use.